I want to talk about learning disabilities and diagnosis in the homeschooling community. I've noticed throughout the years, and I've been homeschooling since 2003, that there are a lot of parents who are afraid to have their children diagnosed for a learning disability. And they know that their children are struggling and have some form of a learning disability. And when we talk about LD, and I'll say LD for short, there is such a broad range of academic disabilities. It's not just dyslexia, it's not just dyscalculia, which are two that I deal with in my home, but you have different processing issues, we have executive functioning issues. There's so many different academic learning disabilities out there, and each child expresses that disability in such a different way, and there's so many different forms that the disabilities can manifest themselves, that sometimes it is important that we have our children go through a formal screening and evaluation so that we can see exactly what it is that they're struggling with. Some parents, they are against evaluations, they're against screening, they're against diagnosis, period. And I know that in the public school system, misdiagnosis of children is a huge problem. And it's a tool that is used to create disparities in the academic realm. I'm well aware of that. But when we have our children at home and we are one-on-one with them and we are noticing that they're having problems and they're having struggles, and you as a parent can't put your finger on it, but you know, you have that intuition that something just isn't right, the best thing you can do for that child is to have them evaluated. The evaluation is not the end-all be-all. It is not who they are. That is just something that is a part of them, something that they deal with. But it's not them as an individual. And I think a lot of times parents are afraid to have their children evaluated and formally diagnosed because they don't want, I guess, a stain to be left on the record, or you don't want them to be seen a certain kind of way. Not having them evaluated does such a disservice for that child. Now, in each state, you can have your child evaluated through the child study team of your local school district for free. If you try to do it privately, and I've tried to go the private route, insurance doesn't cover it. Most insurances don't cover it because school districts do it for free. And by law, even if your child is not enrolled in that school, because they're a part of the school district and you pay taxes, they, by law, have to respond to your request to have their child evaluated. They're going to screen you first. They're going to see if the child is a candidate. And then if they see, based off of the initial consultation and evaluation, this child needs to be diagnosed, then they go through that process. But they cannot deny you access to the child study team because your child is not enrolled. Nor do you have to accept any of the resources that they have in their school district. So after the evaluation is over and they say, well, we have this, and this, but your child has to enroll in order to have access to these resources. You have a choice to choose whether you yourself want to purchase or utilize their resources, or if you want to use your own third party. You have choices. There's nothing that's edged in stone saying that you have to use anything the school district provides once you have a formal evaluation and diagnosis. But when your child is diagnosed, so say that your child is dyslexic. My son is dyslexic. He has a formal diagnosis. I communicate with my local school district. They know that he has a specified learning disability. When he becomes of age and he wants to, say, take an ACT or an SAT or some type of formalized test, he can get accommodations that he would not normally get had he not had a diagnosis. So if he is in an environment where the test is timed, he can take the test for as long as he needs to, or he may have tools that are given to him to help him take the test. Maybe there is an audio version of something that can be given to him. There's just so many different accommodations that students can get when they have the formal diagnosis of a certain learning disability. But if your child has a learning disability and they're not diagnosed, they're going to be treated like a regular student. it could be detrimental to them. It could be catastrophic to them academically when they go into higher learning, or they want to obtain higher learning through trade school or college, and they don't have the accommodations that they need because the school doesn't know they have a learning disability. So what I'm saying is, don't be afraid to have your child evaluated by your local school district, because you just don't know how much of a help that could be to you. Not only would you have access to resources, but you know exactly what it is, so you can formulate a plan for them, and you can do exactly what needs to be done for that student, and you know what path you need to take for them. And it will take a huge weight off of your shoulders. It will probably answer a lot of questions that you have in regards to your child and their learning, and how they're learning, or what they're not learning, or why they're processing things the way they're processing things. You'll have the answers to all of that. So when you're in a homeschooling environment, it's totally different than being in that public school environment. You, the parent, know there's an issue, and don't be afraid to utilize the school district. You pay taxes, so you have access to those tools, and you have access to their child study team for free. So if you have any questions, please leave a question or a comment. Let's get this discussion going on how you feel about diagnosis, and how you feel about learning disabilities in the homeschooling community, and the type of resources that you've tapped into, or you want to tap into, or how the homeschooling laws work in your state. Let me know how you feel about this in the comment section below, and I look forward to posting another video soon.